Welcome back to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is Chris Nwokobia, public affairs analyst and convener of Country First movement. Chris, are you there now? Chris, good afternoon.
Yes, I am. Good evening.
What happened? You kept me waiting. We were looking for you. Anyway, how are you?
It wasn't my fault. I guess it was the studio.
Anyway, it's good to see you again. Quickly. On September 17th, that was yesterday, Obedience were reportedly attacked in Abakaliki in Ebonyi State. Now, before then, there was a matter in court in Lagos, whereby the court ruled that indeed members of the Obedient movement, supporters of the Labour Party presidential candidate, could in fact exercise their right to hold a rally. What do you think the problem is really? Where does it lie? Is it with the Obedient movement, which some people are accused of being rather unruly, aggressive, and counterproductive? Or do you think the problem is just all about politics?
Dr. Ruben, it's my pleasure to be on with you. Let me say clearly that you don't beat a child and refuse a child the right to cry. Over 23 years, that's not excusing what or admitting what people are saying about the obedience. After 23 years of less than progressive governance, and I'm talking about the Siamese twins, the APC and the PDP, the Nigerian people are thinking and looking for something different. And the hoopla in the public space is simply about the search for an alternative. And that alternative they found in the Labour Party. That alternative they found in the candidacy of Mr. Peter Gregory Obi. That alternative resonates, and that's where we are. Now, with respect to what is happening across the country, the uneasiness, if you like, don't forget that this is not just the first time it's happening. Somebody boasted in Kaduna State that the obedience will not pull up to 200 persons for a rally. And when it became evident, just the stakeholders meeting had over 2,000 people. When it became evident that the crowd was going to embarrass him, he used the police against the rally in Kaduna. As you and I talked, Dr. Ruben, knowing that Lagos is highly, monumentally, and grossly obedient, they went to court, scared of the show of, do I say show of support? Let me not use the military word or the paramilitary word, show of force. Show of support that it would mean. They're looking at how they can stop that rally. And then what happened in Ebonyi State? Don't forget that the governor of Ebonyi State happens to be the coordinator-in-chief of one of the campaigns of one of the candidates in the Southeast. I'm talking about the Bola Ahmed Tinubu campaign. So he obviously doesn't want to be embarrassed. The truth is that, and Dr. Ruben, I say this without equivocation, the truth is that there is a sweltering harmattan across our country. And Nigerians are saying that they want a new deal. Nigerians are saying that they want a new tendency. Nigerians are saying that they want a new republic where leadership is responsible and responsive. And clearly they have found that faith. Clearly they have found that belief in the candidacy of Mr. Peter Obi. And let me say again that very importantly, those who attempt to color the obedience bad are being intelligent by half, because you don't expect a young man who's been out of school for about 7 months to be very, very civil. And it's not the making of a campaign. It is not the instruction of the leadership of the campaign. They are anxious to see that, Dr. Ruben, I know you are aware that between the APC and the PDP, we have had 70 months of ASU strike. I know that you are aware that for 23 years, the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road is still in construction. Don't allow people deceive Nigerians about, oh, we started. How can that road take you over 7 years? The APC has been in power for about 7 years. Nigerians have the facts. They're not asking for the facts. Nigerians are asking for an alternative. And that is what they have found in the candidacy of Mr. Peter Obi.
Well, Chris Nwokobia, let's interrogate some of the issues. You were trying to call out Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State. But the Ebonyi State government issued a statement and said that the Governor Dave Umahi, had no hand whatsoever in the confrontation between the Obedients who went on a, on a rally and the state. The police themselves issued a statement and said that the issue is that the Obedients in Abakaliki did not get a permit, they did not pay collateral money and all of that. So I don't think it would be fair to blame Governor David Umahi, although, I get the point that you don't have to pay money to go on a protest, and you don't need, police permit. That's a settled matter in law. But, the police, they came out and said this was why we disrupted the protest. And in the case of Lagos, the plaintiffs who went to court told his lordship that, look, they suspect that there will be a disruption of law and order, reminiscent, similar to what happened in 2020, October 2020, to be specific. If a rally is allowed by, by the Obedient group, a group also, and that's the next question I will ask you, that has not done so well in terms of conducting itself, as a group that is ready to listen to other groups, particularly on social media, where I say that the Obedient group is clear. You have admitted that you are a member. On a daily basis, they make enemies for their own goals. And I will say that again and again.
Dr. Ruben, let me say with every sense of respect that, my first statement is, you don't beat a child and refuse the child the right to cry. That's point number one. But regarding the defense or the statement released by the Ebonyi State governor, we know this cliche, the witch cried last night and the child dies this morning. We can make our conjectures. And then regarding the position and the posturing of the Lagos State government and those who went to court, I want to say clearly that another quote comes handy, and it was by Sir Walter Scott. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. I say this, Dr. Ruben, that as you and I talk, clearly you have seen Obedient rallies across this country. The Nasarawa rally was absolutely peaceful. The Port Harcourt rally was peaceful. The Calabar rally was peaceful. The Asaba rally was peaceful. The Auchi rally was peaceful. The Enugu rally, the Ibadan rally, the Akure rally. Across this country, the Obedients have stepped out peacefully to underscore the point, like I said, that we have a sweltering harmattan across our country, and that is a call for a new deal, the call for a new tendency, the call for a new republic, and the call by young people, men and women, to take back their country, to take back our country for good. And I want to say that much as people continue consistently to try to label the Obedients as unruly, Dr. Ruben, with all sense of respect, go to the Twitter handle of Reno Mokri. Go to the Twitter handle of Festus Keyamo, my friend and brother, senior advocate of Nigeria. Go to the Twitter handle of so many of these people. You'll be amazed at the level of bigotry, the level of hate. And so when I listen to people brand the Obedients as unruly, I wonder where that is coming from, because I think that sensibly, these young men, these young boys and young girls on the social media are saying that they are tired of the way our country is running. And they are saying that they found hope in the candidacy of Peter Obi. And let me say this, that it was Chief of Bafemi Awolowo of blessed memory who said that hope is the last milk in the human breast. And that's what they're expressing when they're talking about the candidacy. They may be very fierce about it, but they are not unruly. They may be very passionate about it, but they are not insolent. I have seen people on the other side who are far more insolent, far more unruly, far more rude than the young men and young women who are on Twitter, who are on the social media, canvassing and advancing the cause of Governor Peter Obi, because of the former Governor Peter Obi, because whether we like it or not, this country needs a new deal. I am personally tired of living in a country where every step of the way you're forced to look above your shoulder. You're forced to look over your shoulder. You're very uncomfortable because those who promised us security have democratized and liberalized insecurity. Those who promised us shelter haven't done anything about it. Those who promised to fight corruption have left us with a terrible litany. One of them is a terrible situation where we're told that termites eats up vital documents and accentuates corruption. We're told that monkeys, snakes, and reptiles swallow money. We're told that we spend as much as 18 billion naira per day on subsidy, the same subsidy that was called a scam, a sham, and fraud about 7 years ago. So as I talk to you, it is something we must look at it holistically. What do we expect of these young people who have been direct and immediate victims of rudderless governance, direct and immediate victim of 23 years of failed promises, direct and immediate victims of a leadership that continues to play politics with national security? What do you expect of these young people? But I want to say without equivocation that they are not unruly. They are passionately advancing the cause that they believe in, because now is the time to take back our country.
Chris Nwokobia, your candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, was on CNN on Friday. Now, reactions to that interview have been mixed. But the part of it is people saying, oh, Mr. Peter Obi, who likes to quote statistics from Bangladesh to Japan to China, was quite reticent on Friday, and he wasn't specific on the details. Although he made a very strong point, in my view, about elite conspiracy and about dealing with insecurity in the country. But when he talks about elite conspiracy, do you think really that it's only the elites in this country that are responsible for the problems? How about the ordinary people themselves who behave so badly? And then he says to deal with insecurity, oh, just address the poverty of the security agencies. Are the security agents really poor? Is that really the problem? Or there is just a culture of incompetence in this country across board? What do you think?
Let me say, Dr. Ruben, very clearly that that interview went to the details of the issues about our country. And like you noted, he raised fundamental issues. The issue about, let me start with the security issue. The issue about poverty of security agencies can be looked at from three perspectives. We have a heavily under-policed nation. We have less than 500,000 policemen to cater to the security needs of about 200 million people. That's a far cry following global statistics and the number of those that we need to guard us. So that's some kind of poverty at the level of the security institutions. And then proper funding. They are perhaps complaining that funds come very late and that there's no long-time programmatic for funding of the security agencies. I think that both of them must be looked at holistically, and that's what he's saying. Then regarding the conspiracy of elite or the conspiracy of leadership, Dr. Ruben, I know that my brother and Egbon, you know that's what I call you to, Dele Momodu did say in one of his interviews, I think he was on your station at some point, and he talked about the owners of Nigeria. There is a cliche like that. And then we're talking about where we are as a people. Where's our nation? Why are we where we are? Mitt Romney said something when he was running for president. He said that leadership is at the core of whether a nation grows, moves forward, or backward. The Chinese will say that leadership is a pyramid from top to bottom, that the parent shows the way for his kids. Oftentimes, I've heard people say that, oh, our moral reorientation as a people has to be holistic. Yes, I agree, but the leadership must show the way. And so when he's talking about the conspiracy of the leadership, the conspiracy of the elite, he's absolutely correct. But I think that when we make use of the instrumentality of state properly, and that's about leadership, you'll be able to use agencies like the National Orientation Agency effectively, the Civil Rights Commission, Human Rights Commission effectively, and you'll be able to sizably mobilize people to do right. Unfortunately, leadership has not been true to what it says on paper. Dr. Ruben, let me give you a practical instance. When we're on the other side in, I hope you can hear me. When we're on the other side in 2014, 2015, we made promises about true fiscal federalism and restructuring. A leadership that failed to keep to what is said on paper will naturally give the followership a bad sense of followership. Because if you don't give good examples, if leadership lies, it's just like a parent that is a perennial liar. The children naturally will be perennial liars. My dad did tell me something a long time ago. He said, you don't go to the house of a prostitute to look for an 18-year-old daughter who's a virgin. You do not go to the house of an armed robber to look for a catechist who is serving God effectively. Because the truth is, you don't sow cocoyam to reap cassava. I think that the time has come for us to begin to look at it dispassionately. And that's what Mr. Peter is saying, that there must be a massive rework of the leadership pyramid, massive rework of issues, massive reorientation that will begin from the leadership. It has to come from the top to the bottom.
Okay, in law, they're saying, no man can give that which he does not have. Nemo that could none have it. But Mr. Peter Obi in that CNN interview was talking about competence, character, and the commitment to do the right thing. Do you think that would play in his favor? Particularly as there was a poll conducted by Anna Foundation and NOI polls, also strongly criticized, saying that if the election were to be conducted today, he will win and be the president of Nigeria. But if that election is not going to be conducted today or yesterday, it will be conducted in February, do you really believe that he stands a chance? Chris, are you there?
Dr. Ruben, I lost you because my mic went off. My headpiece went off. So please, can you repeat that question?
Okay, I echoed you and said, look, no man can give that which he does not have. And one of the things that Mr. Peter Obi said in his interview with CNN is that character, competence, and commitment to do the right thing should be the major considerations in the 2023 presidential election. Okay, do you think that he really stands a chance? Especially as the Anna Foundation, in collaboration with NOI, came up with a report a few days ago saying if the elections were to be conducted today, Mr. Peter Obi is a front runner. Today, yesterday, in another 5-6 months, in February, do you think he really stands a chance?
Dr. Ruben, Peter Obi will win the 2023 election for 3 strong reasons. Not only is he the most competent, not only does he have the capacity and the competency, not only is his integrity unimpeachable, comparing him with the front 4 leading candidates, you find out that he stands head and shoulder above all of them in terms of competency, capacity, credibility, and commitment to our nation. That's point number 1. Point number 2, I did say that there is a sweltering harmattan across this country, and our young people, our fathers and mothers have come to that parlor where they've said that a new deal, a new tendency in leadership is a minimum, and he is the one who represents that tendency. Then point number 3, across our country, what you see on social media, you see on the streets. That's why those in Lagos are afraid. That's why those in Ebonyi are afraid. That's why those in Kaduna are weary. They understand the dynamics. They know that the message is clear. They know that Nigerians are saying that they're tired of perfidy and mendacity, that they're tired of deceit and chicanery, that they're tired of profligacy, that they want a frugal leader who can not only impact the lives of the people, but save for tomorrow. His leadership score in Anambra State remains unimpeachable. He is about the only governor who left his state with less debts than he met. Every other governor has done the opposite. He took a state from number 26 in terms of rating on education to number 1. He left 75 billion in the treasuries of the state. His successor admitted that he built the airport in Anambra State with the money he left. We're talking about a man who cares about the people. And that's why Nigerians are unanimous in their support of the obedient movement. And together with an exceptional young man, Dati Ahmed, who believes in frugality, who believes in using money wisely, we're going to have a new republic where leadership is responsible and responsive. We're going to have a new nation where Nigeria's people's money is spent in making life better for the masses of our people. And that's exactly what we're talking about. So come 2023, we're going to have a new tendency in leadership. Nigerians will take back their country, and that's exactly what that data, that statistics, the NOI information represents. And then let me say this, Dr. Ruben, very importantly, that in 2011, when you sincerely ran for president, the same institution came out with a running pool. And what did they say? That Jonathan, former President Jonathan, would win the election. And after that election, it was true, he won. In 2014, when yours sincerely was one of the leaders of a campaign that brought President Muhammadu Buhari to power, the poll early enough said that Muhammadu Buhari was going to win. In 2015, he won. In 2019, the poll said he was going to win. And President Muhammadu Buhari was returned, elected. Here, that poll has said what the Nigerian people connect with. Okay. The truth is that if you truly think that P2B does not have the structures, why are you weary and troubled about the structureless?
Okay, no, the polls, according to ANA Foundation and NIO polls, just saying, well, as of today, who knows what will happen? The campaigns will start on September 28th. But you were talking about money. Some people think
more people will join the obedient movement,
well,
Dr. Ruben.
More people think also that your team is a penny-pinching team. And finally, you guys say, and I'm quoting Professor Patu Tomi, that you will announce formally a crowdfunding scheme this coming week. Okay? But there are persons who have argued that that is in violation of Sections 85, Section 88 of the Electoral Act, and Section 225, of the Nigerian Constitution. What do you say to that as we wrap up this conversation?
As we wrap up, I'll return with the quote by Sir Walter Scott. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. The right to pool funds to fund a campaign is legitimate everywhere and anywhere in the world. And it's not against the provisions of our law.
No, we're talking about specific provisions.
You're talking about crowdfunding.
Specific provisions in the Electoral Act
and the Constitution of Nigeria. You have limits.
Yeah.
Dr. Ruben, you have limits that people can give funds to. An individual can fund a campaign. There is nothing in our law that says that Nigerians cannot support a campaign with funds. That's exactly what the law is.
225 says you cannot get money from abroad as political parties.
No, you cannot. No, Dr. Ruben, the law says that an individual cannot be funded by a foreigner. Nigerians abroad are not foreigners.
Political parties, the law says.
Yes, political parties cannot be funded by foreigners. Nigerians in the diaspora are not foreigners. And then what we're talking about is the candidacy of Peter Obi. He's an individual. He's not a political party. So there is nothing in our law that forbids him from being supported by Nigerians in the diaspora and Nigerians at home. All these machinations, like I said, Walter Scott cleared it when he said, it's a tangled web. Every so often, the people who are saying that we do not have structures are threatened by the structureless. Every so often we talk about the Peter Obi movement, they're looking for loopholes. They are unsettled. They can't sleep at night. They can't think clearly. It's becoming some kind of neurosis, if you like. But I think that come 2023, Nigerians will take back their country through what I have termed a peaceful, violent-free people's revolution, and it's ballot-based. We'll do it peacefully. Those you see on the streets of our country who are marching and who are aligning themselves with the obedient movement are simply interested in having a new deal and a new day, a new nation, a new hope and a new tendency. And together with the candidacy of Mr. Peter Gregory Obi, we shall redeem Nigeria, we shall take back our country, and we shall make our nation better. That's exactly what we're saying.
On that note,
and God on our side,
on
it
that
will
note,
come true.
I would like to thank you very much, Chris Nwokobia, and I'll go away with your reference to Walter Scott, 18th, 19th century Scottish playwright, poet, and novelist, author of The Lady of Lamemeno and Marmion. Thank you very much.